Liam Payne, one of the stars of the former boy band One Direction, has died at the age of 31.
Of One Direction reacting this afternoon to the sudden death of their bandmate Liam Payne. The 31-year-old died after falling from a third-story hotel balcony in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
3 people have been charged in Argentina in connection with the death of the One Direction star Liam Payne. The singer fell from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires last month.
Our story is set here on October 16th in Argentina, specifically in the capital Buenos Aires. Liam Payne, who was staying at the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel, slipped from the balcony of his room, subsequently falling into the inner corridor and passing away there on the spot. Now then, who is Liam Payne and why did his life end at the Casa Sur Hotel in Buenos Aires? Well, in case you're lost in life or living under a rock like me, Liam Payne is a well-known singer from the ultra-mega famous band One Direction. Yes, that's right, One Direction, the band composed of 5 ridiculously handsome and extremely famous British singers. It turns out that one of the 5 didn't make it this year, and unfortunately slipped and fell from the balcony of the 3rd floor of the building, where he had been staying for the past 10 days. Apparently due to the use of illicit substances. But so far, everything sounds fairly normal. A beloved and admired artist who dies while under the addictive influence of candies? Wait, not him. So, why should the story end this way? Without 500 news outlets and 500 Twitter threads conspiring about his death, what would the internet be without that? Surely no one would eat. And you may wonder, what rumors could people come up with if it's as simple as him sleeping and falling? Well guys, no, it's not as simple as it sounds. There is a lot more involved. Liam was someone who, beyond having openly admitted a couple of years ago in the media that he was addicted to these substances, had psychological issues. Liam had spoken in a podcast and the news outlets that about his attempts to end his life and the reasons that led him to that, which always end up being the same as with other artists: excessive fame, bad people who approach you to get something out of you, unstable relationships. And sadly, this year it happened to Liam, a 31-year-old guy who was also a father of a young girl. All of this raises doubts about possible suicide under the excuse of an overdose that eventually led him to a psychotic episode. With this in mind, we can understand the case is not as straightforward, and right now, the Argentine prosecution has declared the case as a doubtful death. And you might wonder, just like I did while researching, what is supposed to mean doubtful death in Argentina? Legally speaking, it's not that complex, but in general terms, it basically means that the prosecution does not rule out that the death was due to the criminal causes. This now opens the door to an extensive and thorough investigation into whether Liam's death was caused by someone else. Although, as far as we know and what has been concluded, he was completely alone in a hotel room despite fake and sensationalist news outlets inventing that Liam had a woman accompanying him in his room. But well, that's another topic for another video. Now, there are 2 scenarios here. In the first scenario that we can analyze, ideas that Liam was consuming substances and entered a state of psychosis. He went crazy and destroyed everything, eventually leaning out the balcony, and amidst everything, he ended up sleeping and falling into the inner corridor. And if that wasn't the case, maybe he was using the substance to end everything at once. That someday he consumed all the substances he could to not feel any kind of pain, and finally threw himself. Honestly, of the 2 hypotheses, I lean towards the first one, because although Liam was very emotionally distressed, I don't think he voluntarily threw himself off the balcony or let himself be carried away until he fell. I think he was very depressed. He was having a hard time, probably had been without using for some time, and a bout of depression to do it overcame him. Of course, all this under, I don't know if I should call it an excuse, but perhaps as a reason his girlfriend left him alone in Argentina 2 days before. Being alone in a small hotel room with nothing or no one must have been really suffocating and distressing for Liam, and I think anyone going through such a situation would have felt the same. However, the sweetheart girlfriend that Liam had wasn't exactly good at helping him cope with the situation he had been declaring since 2021. And well, considering that his ex-partner with whom he was about to get married tore him down, I feel sorry for Liam. Why do I hold this idea about Liam's girlfriend? Well, to begin with, the girl has some points that we could consider red flags, and well, to help you understand what I mean, let's watch the video she recorded 2 days before Liam's death, because without a doubt, it's not without merit.
Traveled from South America back to Florida with me. I was so ready to leave. Honestly, loved South America, but I hate staying in one place for too long. And we were supposed to be there for like 5 days, turned into 2 weeks, and I was just like, I need to go home.
Believe me, if I were going through a situation like Liam's, the last thing I'd want as a travel companion would be this girl. It's as if she's saying, I thought the trip would be in 5 days, and it turned into 2 weeks. She literally is telling Liam, hey, I'm tired of being with you, I'm leaving. What the hell? It's understandable if the girlfriend had some kind of urgent or serious situation that forced her to go back home, but in reality, she had no reasons to leave Liam throwing in his depression. She just wanted to leave because she felt like it. Acting like a spoiled child. She knew perfectly well the situation he was going through. They hadn't been together for just 2 months for her to be unaware of him or any kind of excuse people on the internet want to invent. They had been in a relationship for over 2 years, and that's more than enough time to know something Liam had openly shared in the media and on podcasts.
Of course, my seat was 1D. I feel like this happens every single time I fly.
Another detail that seems really odd to me that is the fact that she shows off the exclusive One Direction tickets, basically first class seats, and not just that, but the way she does it so boastfully, saying, oh, I feel like this happens every time I travel. Like, of course you know that, and that's fine, but why show it off like that when it doesn't make any sense?
I also get such anxiety before flying, so I broke out in this weird rash. I obviously ate a bunch of sweets at the lounge. They had no food options, so I was like, okay, ice cream and cookies it is. I didn't know what to watch, so I was just scrolling, and then I ended up finding that new movie Challengers with Zendaya, but honestly, it was kind of bad, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, everything annoys her, everything that disgusts her, everything is awful. It's impressive how this girl complains about her privileges, but well, it is what it is, guys.
I really didn't sleep very good at all this whole entire flight. The flight was super hot too, so I landed in Miami at 6 a.m. and I was really expecting a nice sunrise, but nope, we got clouds and gray skies. I was so happy to be home.
In the end, we can see her personality. She literally spent her time complaining about absolutely everything. I can't imagine how unbearable it must have been for Liam during those days, to the point where he went on TikTok to say he didn't want to stay in Argentina anymore. Honestly, that says quite a lot. I think Liam never really knew how to choose the right people to be with for a stable relationship, because if we look back a bit, he had other partners, but only with one was he able to maintain a friendly and affectionate relationship despite having broken up. In fact, 1 or 2 days after his death, she called it for respect for his family and everyone else. Honestly, I see something really nice in that. That despite having ended the relationship a while ago, she still had a certain appreciation for him, compared to Liam's other partners who basically criticized him and to no end. So, what happened with Cassidy when Liam died? Well, nothing. Yes, nothing. Absolutely nothing. In the first days, she was completely off the radar. People began following her desperately because, well, she was Liam Payne's current girlfriend, and unfortunately, Liam died during their relationship. So, without of empathy, curiosity, or just plain gossip, people started following her. Her account grew tremendously. Every time they refreshed the page, she had gained another 1,000 or 5,000 followers. 10 minutes would pass and her account would grow by 100,000 followers. Anyway, after this period of shock and frenzy, when no one had any idea where she was, Miss Cassidy appeared at the store buying food for her pets. Now, from here, different hypotheses could arise. She was processing Liam's death and didn't want to make any statements about it or post anything. In this hypothesis, what makes me doubtful is that she didn't post anything at all, unlike others, because, well, this girl gives the impression that she lacks attention. Otherwise, she wouldn't have leveraged Liam's image to the fullest in her numerous TikToks with him. And I'm not surprised she did, because before Liam, she practically had no views, but once she started posting content with him, her views skyrocketed to 5 million, 10 million, and more. My next hypothesis is that she felt guilty for Liam's death. Why would she feel guilty? Well, she knew perfectly well how Liam felt, and she knew that by leaving him alone, he would end up consuming the substances we know about. I wouldn't be surprised if she also used them with him, because it's very common for partners of these famous users to end up trying them or even meeting while using them. So, with that in mind, I think it's possible that she felt guilty and stepped away from social media for a while to process everything and eventually speak up. And well, finally she spoke up, and as typical, she posted a picture with him and a long message explaining how she feels knowing that Liam is no longer with us. She sent a message venting her feelings, wishing with all her might that this wasn't happening. It's a feeling of sadness that surely many have experienced when losing a loved one. Now, what happened with this group, the group of friends with whom Liam grew up and developed his music career? Well, one by one, they began posting messages and photos in memory of Liam, highlighting what a good friend he was and how difficult it is to come to terms with that fact that he is no longer in this world. But here's something that raised doubts in people who were reading these messages. Were these really honest, uncensored words or pure hypocrisy? Well, for those who followed the group even after they break up, and even for those who didn't follow them that much, it's well known that there were various controversies and strong tensions among them. And well, it was no surprise to anyone that one of the reasons they broke up was envy, jealousy, or over who was more famous or who had more spotlight on stage, and so on. This is typical in the music world. Similar things have happened for a long time, like in the case of the Beatles and other ones. After the group's breakup, which happened fairly early considering they had just become ultra mega famous, each one started their solo careers, but the only one who had great success was Harry Styles. Returning to the topic of relationships within the group, Liam had a fight during a recording with one of the members, Zayn Malik, and he himself started the story on Long on Paul's podcast with friends Mike In that episode, he mentioned it, that he lost control and got so angry that he basically told Zane he would paralyze him if he didn't let it go. Later on, Liam made comments against Zane over an unfair accusation made against him.
The boys in the group ever actually come to blows? Not almost come to blows, but actually.
We came very close at points. I think it was well known within the band that I don't like taking shit.
Right.
At a certain point. I made it very obvious. I'm not going to tell you how. And there was one moment where there was an argument backstage, and one member in particular threw me up a wall. So I said to him, if you don't remove those hands, there's a high likelihood you'll never use them again.
That is such a British thing to say.
It's just an awesome thing to say.
Wait, what did he say after that?
Oh, he just took his hands off.
He went from Liam Payne to Liam Neeson
Yeah!
in like 2 seconds.
Right.
He's like, I have a very unique...
I don't know why you have your hands on me.
I have a very unique set of skills.
Liam joined the people who were criticizing.
Rooms were right next to each other. He was, and there was a video of it online, screaming in his hotel rooms. Like, I thought my brother was about to fight Zane, and then Gigi tweeted at Jay, calling him like ugly and irrelevant, and that went crazy viral. And you know, Jake is ugly.
She tweeted something about,
but he's not irrelevant.
Then she tweeted something about get yourself like a respectful man or something.
Yeah.
That one didn't age very well.
It didn't age.
No, listen. Before we go too deeply into this, there's many reasons why I didn't.
And later made a video where he supposedly apologized. But upon analyzing the video, the title doesn't even match the apology, and he only spends a few minutes apologizing, while the rest is just him philosophizing about mental issues and toxicity he had. Attacking his friend and co-worker along with outsiders in a toxic way. Also remembering a teenage fight had and saying he wanted to leave Zane paralyzed, when many people have had similar conflicts in their friendships or sibling relationships and don't hold on to those grudges into their 30s or 60s. It's absurd and completely toxic. Despite everything, his group still remembers him with affection, or at least that's what they say. Although after the criticism Liam made of Zane and other behaviors, it's not like they had much appreciation for him. Although some members haven't made public comments, I think it was uncomfortable for them to hear those remarks from Liam. And Bruce Tomlinson made it clear in a podcast where he talked about all of these issues. My conclusion, and my final conclusion from this story, is that fame is a poison for any artist, whether big or small, or even for an influencer. It's a bastion. There are always people who seek to take advantage by tagging out of hatred, jealousy, or simply mental imbalance. Liam destroyed himself mentally over the years due to the fame and addiction. Honestly, I hope this doesn't happen to anyone, to everyone else, and that Liam's story serves as an example for artists who are just starting out, so they don't repeat the same mistakes.